So today we'll be learning how to make a short pants. Hope this is visible for you all to see. Yes, we'll be learning how to make a simple short pants. This is just very simple, and I guess you all will learn in the course of this class. I don't know why my phone is trying to like do this, but we will learn how to make a simple short pants on this class. You get? So hope you all can see what I am doing. So let's get started. So I have all my, let me get these clients, the measurements for this particular client. So before we start, so to those of you joining, you are welcome. So let's proceed. So the first thing for you to note is that you need to get your fabric, right? So this is a very long fabric, so I'll be using it. Now, in order for you to know the width of fabric to fold, you divide your hip circumference by 4, and then you add about 4 inches. Okay. So now I'll proceed to fold this into 2, like this. I'll fold it into 2, like this. You can see what we have right here. This is jonkosu. This is not crepe. I don't think this is crepe, but the crepe is kind of stretchy too. So how do I set this? I keep getting calls. So I'll fold this into 2. Now, when working with a stretchy fabric, there's something I want you to do when working with a stretchy fabric. The width of the fabric should be the stretchy part, and the length of the fabric should be the non-stretchy part. Like I said, the width, this is the width of my fabric. You can see it's stretchy. This part is not too stretchy, but it's stretchy. So this is the width. So it means I'll be working with the width as my stretchy parts. So I'll proceed to fold all the fabric like this. Okay, I'll fold it into 2. I'm using a smaller table. That's why. If I said I should do this on the floor, I don't really know, my back, my hurts. So, but we have to manage my table, right? We'll manage my table here. So you can see what we have right here. Hope this is visible for everybody. Okay, anybody that is watching this live, I know you guys can see this. So the next thing I will do is to take all the measurements. But at first, I will have to rule out a straight line. So that will be my start line, so that all the parts will be equal. I'll have to rule out a straight line here, so that all the parts here will be equal. So you can see what we have right here. So this is my start line. This is my start line here. So the next thing I will do is to take all my vertical measurements. Now I'll be using a band of 2 inches. A band of 2 inches. So I'll place my 2 inches this way. Okay, they just restored my light, so let me just try and on this so that you guys can see very well. Don't worry. When you bring it back out on it, so you guys can see, right? Let me confirm if this live is recording. So now the first thing I'll do, I'm using a band of 2 inches. Sorry, that's what I'm using. Now after folding your fabric, right, then you minus the band that you're using. Like I said, I'm using a band of 2 inches, so it means I'm taking off 2 inches from before taking all my measurements. So I'll place my tape like this on this line here. This is where I'll place this 2 inches here. Then I'll take all my measurements. So I'll be using a hip. The hip line will be 10 inches instead of 9 inches because this person is kind of like chubby. So I'm using 10 inches instead of 9 inches for my hip line. 9 inches is for a normal adult, right? Like an adult size for freehand. So, but for this client, I'm using 10 inches. So I'll proceed to mark out the 10 inches like this. So just watch what I am doing. So I'll mark the 10 inches like this, okay? Taking note of my 2 inches. I'll connect these 2 inches like this. So this is what we have right here. So the next step is to mark the crouch. That's the crouch length. Now the crouch length for this client is 13 inches, okay? 13 inches. Now how do you get your crouch how do you get your crouch length should in case the client is not available? What I normally do is that I'll divide the client's hip circumference by 4 and I'll add 1.5 inches to 2 inches depending on the type of pant that I am making. Okay, so now because this is not a too tight pant or like it's just semi-free pants, yeah, just normal pants, so I will proceed to add 2 inches. The client's measurement is 11 inches. That is, her hip is 44 inches, so it is 11 inches. That is 44 divided by 4 gives me 11 inches, and plus 2 extra inches, it gives me 13 inches. So I proceed to mark 13 inches as the client's crouch length here. So this is 13 inches. I can still do 12.5 inches and it will still be fine, okay? So then you note this down. Now the next step for you to do is to mark out the pant length, right? So I'll mark out the pant length for this client. Now the length of this pant is 16 inches. She wants it 16 inches. I'll mark out the 16 inches here. So you note this down, 16 inches. You take notes, look at where my tape is. You mark out your 16 inches here. You can see what we have, right? Then you add extra 2 inch for folding allowance. This is a pant, so you add extra 2 inch for folding allowance. So I'll proceed to mark out 2 inches for folding allowance. So you can see what we have right here. So let me connect all the lines together. So for those of you that just joined this live, let me repeat the same process again. So what I did was to fold my fabric into 2. You can see it's on fold because I'm cutting a short pant. A short pant, okay? This is a short pant, a short free pant. Now, after folding my fabric into 2, what I did was to I just mark out a very straight line so that this will be my start point here. So the next thing I did was to minus 2 inches for my band because my band will be a 2-inch band. And from these 2 inches, I mark out my hip line, which is 10 inches. From these 10 inches, I proceed to mark out the crouch line, which is 13 inches. Now, for you to get your crouch length, you can tell the client to sit on a flat surface chair, and you measure from the waistline to where to the surface of the chair. You note that down. Another option is to divide your hip circumference by 4 and you add 1.5 inches to 2 inches. Okay, so that's just it. So after marking out my crouch length, I proceeded to mark the length of the pants, which is 16 inches. Then I also added 2 extra inches for folding allowance. So that's just what I did. So the next thing for me to do is to take all my measurements. Okay, I will input all my measurements. So you guys just hold on please, then I'll get back to you. So you can ask me any question on the live and I'll get to answer you, okay? Even though I'm not seeing it, but I'll keep checking, then I'll get to answer you. So after marking out all these lines, the first thing I will do is to divide my hip circumference on this hip line. Okay, so let me show you guys. This is the waistline. This start point here is the waistline. This is the hip line. This is the crouch line. This is the length of the pants, and this is my allowance. Okay, and this is my allowance there. So the next thing we will do is to divide our hip circumference on this hip line here. Now the hip circumference of this client is 44 inches, like I said earlier. 44 inches divided by 4 will give me 11 inches. Okay, it will give me 11 inches, and I will note this down. This 11 inches, I'll note this down. Now I'll choose to add 1 inch. That is both for joining allowance and for ease. Like I said, this is just like, this is a palazzo short, so I'll add 1 inch. That is both for joining allowance and ease. Okay, so I'll add 1 extra inches to whatever measurement I get. So I'll note this down. Now I'll take whatever measurement I have, which is 12 inches. I'll place it on my waistline. I'll place the 12 inches on my waistline. Why? Because this is an elastic waistband. The waist will be having an elastic on the waistband. Supposing the waist is not having an elastic on the waistband, I'll divide my waist circumference around the waistline here by 4, just on it. Now if your pant is not having an elastic on the waistband, you divide your waist circumference by 4. Now what I love to do is that I love taking my measurement. Let me say my waist is 32 inches divided by 4, it's 8 inches. Now this is where your 8 inches will be, and whatever measurement you have, you connect it here. You can see, so that you'll be able to connect it from this point here straight down to meet your hip. But since this is not having a zipper but an elastic waist, so you take whatever measurement you have on your hip to your waist. You get it? Hope you guys understand. So I have 12 inches here, and I also have 12 inches here. Now the same 12 inches that you have here, you place it on your crouch line here. Can you see? On your crouch line. So that means you have your hip circumference divided by 4 plus 1 inch on your crouch line, on your hip line, and also on your waist line. Hope you guys understand. This is an elastic waistband. So when I'm done, I will connect all the lines together. Can you see? You connect all the lines together. So this is what we have now. So the next step for you to do is to take whatever measurement you have on this part here, and you divide it by 4. Whatever measurement you have on this, from this point here to this point, you divide it by 4. Now I have 12 inches divided by 4 will give me 3 inches. Now let's just do this. This is my 12 inches, right? I'll divide it by 2 first. Now this is by 2 and this is by 4. So it gives me 3 inches. So from this part here, I'm going to mark 3 inches on this part here. Can you see what we have? I'll mark 3 inches from this part here. Now, after marking out 3 inches from this part here, I will come up here by 1 inch, slantly by 1 inch. Slantly by 1 inch. Now, to make it easier for you, you can just give it a 90-degree angle here. Can you see what I'm doing? And then you mark your 1 inch on this 90-degree angle here. Hope you guys can see very well. So this is what we have. Now you connect from this your hip line here to this 1 inch here, and to this crouch length here. Okay, to this crouch extension, sorry. Now let's do this. You can do this with your ruler, you can do this with a free hand. Just give it a C curve like this. Okay, then you connect to your crouch extension. Just watch what I am doing. A C curve, then you connect to your crouch extension. You can see what we have right here. So now on this part here, on this part where I have my pants length here, I will just measure whatever I have on this part, which is 14. I have 15 inches, sorry, I have 15 inches on this part here. So I'll take away 1.5 inches. You can take away 1.5 inches, you can take away 2 inches or even 1 inch, depending on what you have. So I have 15 inches here, so I proceeded to take out, let me say 1 inch. Yeah, 1 inch is okay, so that it will be very free. So I'll mark out 14 inches on this part here. Can you see? So then you connect from this part to meet this point here. Then just bring it this way. From this point here to meet this point here. So you can see what we have right here. So this is just a very simple way to draft out your pants. You can even go as far as like taking whatever measurement you have straight down here. But I don't want this side to be very full, okay? I just want it like to have shape, small shape. So that's just what I did here. So you can see what we have right here. So this is just all for the front piece, okay? This is just all for the front piece of the dress. So for the pants, proceed to cut this out, and we will cut out the back pants. So before then, anything you want to ask me before I proceed to cut the back pants, you can just ask me here in the comment section, and I will respond to you all. Okay? Hi Godwin. Hello. Do you have any question? So hello. Before I proceed, do you have any questions to ask? If you don't have any question, I will proceed to cut out the back pattern. So you can see what we have right here. So now the next thing for me to do is to cut, okay? So I'll proceed to cut this pattern off. Yeah, I'll proceed to cut it off. Now I really love to add my allowance here. It's better for it to be very long than for it to be very short. So I'll determine the final length when I am done. So this is 18 inches as the final length, but as when I'm done, I will now measure the 18 inches. So you guys can see what we have here. So I also add allowance on this part here because we will be joining this. You all can see, right? So you can see what we have here, here. So I also proceed to cut out this point here. So you can see the shape of the pants. So you also open up this part here, but I don't want to do this until I am done cutting out the back pattern. So I'll keep this aside and let's cut out the back. So I'll fold my fabric again into 2 folds like this. Yeah, so the back pants, you know, the back pants is wider than the front pants, right? Yeah, the back pants is wider than the front pants itself. So you fold it. So when you fold it very well, let me look at it. So guys, sorry for the hello. Isioma Nicole, hi. Hello. Sorry if I'm unable to answer you now. Just know that. Hi, Isioma. I don't know how to reply messages here, but just say anything you want to say. And oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for subscribing. So let's continue. Okay, now to I'm gonna have to fold out this piece, right? Now, like I said, the back pattern is always bigger than the front pattern itself. So you can tell from the way I folded it. Can you see that it's just bigger than it? So you ensure that the midpoint of your front and the midpoint of your back, this is your midpoint here, they align together. It's a must. Now, for my crouch extension for the back, this is 3 inches, and I want the extension to be 3 inches for the back also. So, and this is not enough, so it means I will fold it again. Okay, so I'm going to fold this part again like this. So 1 yard is enough to make a short pants. 1 yard for a short pants, 1 yard is enough. Okay, 1 yard is truly enough for you to make a short pants. So I'll fold this like this. You can see now when placing your front pattern, this the upper side of this your front pattern, that is your back pattern, sorry, should be longer. That is, you should have enough space. You should also have enough space here, and the lengths can be the same thing. So you ensure that the midpoints are together. That is, the midpoints of your front and the midpoints of your back align. Can you see what I'm doing at the same space? Now is to creating the extension for the back. For this back pattern, I love to add whatever measurement I have around this part here, which is 3 inches for my front crouch. I love to extend my back crouch by same 3 inches. You get? So you can extend all your lines here, extend every line that you have. You can just extend it here. I have 3 inches here. The hip line, you extend it. Sorry. The waistline, you also extend it. You can see, right? You can see what we have. Now, remember I've extended my back crouch with whatever measurement I extended for my front crouch. Then you note this down. Now, on the hip line, I'm going to extend with 2 inches. For the hip line, 2 inches. Look at where my 2 inches starting from. After this front crouch, this is where I placed my 2 inches here. You can see. Now, for this waistline here, I will extend it by 1.5. The extension will be by 1.5. You can see 1.5 inches extension, 2 inches extension, and 3 inches extension. Hope you all can see very well. 2 inches, 1.5 inches, and 3 inches extension. You can even make it 2.5, it's still fine, right? So it's now time for us to connect. I'll connect from this waistline here down to meet this hip. Can you see? Now from this hip here, I'll just give it a C curve to meet the back extension. It shouldn't be too deep so that your pants will not be going inside by the time you are done. If you make it too deep, by the time you are done sewing, your pants will be going inside. Can you see? Now, after doing this, I'll just extend with 2 inch here. That is, all the remaining parts will be 2 inch here. Can you see? So it's as this simple. Now, in order for us to have like a balanced waistline around the back, I will come up here by 1 inch. You can do 1 inch, you can do 1/4 inches, okay? But this client have like 1 bump, so I'll come up by 1/4 inches. A normal waistline, sometimes like when it's mine, I will just come up by 1 inch. Sorry, that is my back is not that wide, it's not that big. I'll just come up by 1 inch. But this person is kind of big at the back side, so that is why you come up by 1/4. Now, when you're done connecting, coming up here by 1.5 inches, you connect from this point here to meet the side of your pants. From this point here to meet the side of your pants. Sorry guys, let me confirm if you all are seeing what I am doing. Oh, I'm also from Nigeria. Thank you very much. So I'll connect them together. I'll connect from this point here to meet this point here. So just watch. You can see, right? All of equal length. It's just the extension that differs. So you can see what we have right here. Now, so this is just like, when you're done, you open this up, okay? You open this part up here. Can you see? You open this up here. So this two-piece is for the back. Can you see this for the back? And this one here is for the front. Two-piece here is for the front. Now, if you want to join it, let me just show you guys how to join it. You first of all join these front crafts together. Remember, there are two. You join using half of an inch. Remember, I added half of an inch. You can see it here. You join using half of an inch here. You note this down. Join using half of an inch here. You note this down. When you're done, you open it up. Okay? By that time, you're done joining it, so you understand. You open it up like this. Okay? It will be open like this. Then you still open your back craft like this. The way I open it like this. Then you join the two crafts together. You sew from the midpoint straight down, from the midpoint straight down. When you're done, you just shape and then you cover up with your band. So the only thing remaining for me to cut here is the band. Okay, so I'll be cutting the band. Now I love to sew the pants before cutting out the band, but that's not a problem. I can just cut it out. But I'll cut the band off camera, but this is how I will fold my band. Remember I said it's a 2-inch band, so it means that I'm cutting 2.5 inches. 2.5 inches. Why? Because half inch will be for sewing allowance and the 2 inches for the band. So that's all. And now I also want to cut another thing here, but I'm thinking of going live elsewhere. So my beginners class is on. Like, I'm having a beginners class, and that's beginners class. You'll be learning a lot. I think I need to switch this to my face so you all will see who is talking. So, hi. Oh God, I'm sweating. There's no light, and I am just sweating. So, I'm having a beginners class. Now, if you didn't get to watch the live, you can still watch it. Yes, after here, you can watch it after I end the live. So, my beginners class is ongoing. Yes, I'll just teach you the basics of fashion. Yes, you just get to learn how to draft a basic bodice pattern, how to cut and sew a basic top, a basic skirt, a pencil gown, a palazzo pants, bubble gown, and also a fleece skirt on this class. So all for 10,000 naira. Yes, you're learning all of this for 10,000 naira. Trust me, you will learn and you testify. Okay, so if you really joined this live, if you are late to this live and you just want to rewatch what I did, so after I end the live, you can go back to it and watch again. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. Isioma Nicole, thank you for subscribing. Thank you so much. And See you. I'll try my best to keep coming live. That is what I'll try to do. Yeah, I'll try my best to come live, because coming live is just one of those things that I find so lazy to do. Yeah, I find it so difficult for me to come live, but I'll try my best to come live. Okay, so bye and see you next time.